that he can't stand and he's sold to his own idea. Right. Instead of seeing what other people, will think at the table, he's pretty much not even really asking them what they think. He's telling them what they think. Because they get mad because they're not, if someone doesn't agree with him. Right. And we'll be at that table arguing. You know what I'm saying? And a payback.
Let their eyes be darkened, that they
from night to night. This gives them this causes them to rest easy. And sound economics. That Willie Lynch letter to say it's not true, but I'll tell you one thing: whatever that program that they used in it, that's sure true. Because they carried it out to the damn letter.
As far as the tactics come.
Right, the tactics that they use, all the tactics and methods. Yes, you see it playing out today. Mm-hmm. You ain't even got to look 200 years ago. You can look today and see it see it, being displayed.
Right.
Back all the way.
And that bow down the back, because as soon as you get, leave that table, you got to go right to them to go to work.
I was going to ask, could that be similar to like sulking?
That too, yeah. Because we find out that you got to be oppressed after you coming together at this table with these great minds, right? And then you got to think. Now that is that scripture right there. To try to do something for the empowerment of your people. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Then you have to think of the ways that you're oppressed. You have to think about how you're short on the rent. You know what I'm saying? How you're short on the car payment or whatever the damn case is. You know what I'm saying? That's why you got to be in the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge.
Right.
Go ahead.
Verse 11. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid. But rather through their fall, salvation is coming to the Gentiles.
The Indians and the Hispanics, when we thought that we were two people, at first, two different people, two different races, we finding out we the same race. You know what I'm saying? What are they doing? They're coming into the truth. So, I mean, we got to also look at that. Look at what's, even though we done fallen and we still got to work for the Edomites and all of that, still got to go to them to get groceries and all of this. But we're looking at the army that's being built of people, of tribes that would never mess with each other like that before are coming together now. And they realizing they black. And we realizing there ain't no difference between us and Hispanics. The only thing is one speaks Spanish, one was born speaking English.
Right.
And then a lot of places, that's not even a difference. You know what I'm saying? We find that we the same people and everyone else is different from us. Mm-hmm. But see, with this table that is talking about, we come, our people outside of the truth come together and we want to include everybody else too.
Right.
Everybody that's poor. The room, and he's talking about, you know what I'm saying? Because they wasn't accepting Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah, that's right.
You had to be the right stock. Irish come from a lower stock of Esau. Mm-hmm. So they gave them the police department, like what GEN.YAHANNA was saying, so that they wouldn't be running around as Billy the damn Kid, robbing banks every damn movies. Them fireman movies that they have, you watch them movies, you think it's a fire every goddamn, every hour. You know what I'm saying? Like they really doing something, because they really making stuff on, they fire retardant clothes and, busting in houses and saving little kids and doing all that. They sat around all damn day and just look at people, see what hoes is going up and down 10th Street. Mm-hmm. That's come back and all of that. Other than that, they inside there, who the hell knows what they're doing inside there? You know what I'm saying? They don't have a pizza parties and hoes. You know what I'm saying? They don't tell them what the hell they're doing inside there. But I'll tell you one thing, and with benefits, pensions, all of that good stuff. They get benefit package as good as the police and all of them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely right.
But they gave them that, you know. So why the hell they need help from blacks or Native Indians? And we want to interject a little layer in Nehemiah.
Let me guess, the 13th chapter.
Yeah, the 13th chapter is real good too.
Oh, yes,
might want to go into that also.
Interesting there, just
right. The 4th chapter. Remember, dude married a Japanese woman.
Yeah,
and then
Ashley and Anna.
Right. And then he made some type of broom or something like that, some type of it's supposed to be like a priest broom, and he made it, you know, and put his father-in-law in it.
Yeah.
And the dude was a leader. Brotherhood is a killer to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. See, the other races, they can play the role. They can mention, you know, suffering and all of that, and then mention us stuff, and everybody gives them a helping hand. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? The Jewish man could use, you know, like he suffered alongside black people, and that awarded what? Nothing. You know, and then when we get a little something, there's the thing about it. This is another thing too. You got these dudes that, you know, they call themselves like high value black men that make 6 figures and stuff. You see them on YouTube and all of that, right? Mm-hmm. They will down, you know, a brother or sister for getting unemployment or something like that. Mm-hmm. Dudes and all of these dudes, whoever wants to join their little groups, they'll allow them in it without no correction, no correcting them concerning their race. They won't do none of that. They'll make everything just about being a high value man.
Right.
And see how that's going to be. They're going to steal the thunder of all of that. And make it about themselves. We don't even look at history and see how they've always historically done this to us whenever we let them into anything. They had a white woman in the NAACP. Remember that?
Yeah.
She was telling people she was part black or that she was black, and they made her the damn head. Something like that. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
It's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah.
How we be. Nobody else is like that. We do things that nobody else do. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We'll say we're all human. Well, if that's the damn case, then why the hell do we do things? Okay, let's drop that. Let's go to Exodus chapter.
Now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them.
Now this is what God said to do right here.
If
type of Hebrew, just to you know, kill it for these fake Israelites, this type of Hebrew is talking about someone of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, because they'll try and get tricky and crafty with that. They'll say, no, everybody that came from Edom is a Hebrew, so that means we got to do this same thing with white people too. And the nation of Israel is not talking about.
Right.
So does Esau.
Right. So
does Ammon and Moab. Indentured servitude and slavery are not the same damn thing. Right. But even
if thou buy,
talking about blacks bought each other. We sold each other in slavery. We bought and sold each other. And the Indians, they had slaves too. The Indians had slaves. This is not the same type of servitude. They knew, you know, even though we in our fallen state, there's certain things that we know to do. It'd be like English black people. Black people can't stand Hispanics. Mm-hmm. So these two are enemies, right? But Hispanics, you know, they got their beans and rice and stuff out there, you know, you see some brother that's hungry or whatever, they will share. If your enemy hungers, feed him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right. He's doing, you know what I'm saying, with the scripture when it talks about they that do the law without excusing or what's the other word you use?
I feel like you're speaking about Paul.
Right.
Yeah, you are speaking. I just forget what book it is.
It's in Romans. I think it's Romans,
Okay.
the 10th chapter. Let me, matter of fact, let me flip on over. I think.
Am I paraphrasing again? Am I paraphrasing it again?
It said, they that have not the law do the things in the law. You got it?
This should be. Do by nature the things contained in
law to the right. That's them having not the law.
Not one fold, but multifold as well.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I do understand what you're saying. You know what I mean? As far as that beef that other nations may have with each other.
Right.
I'm sorry, other tribes within the nation of Israel.
Right.
Especially with, Judah and Ephraim.
Right.
That's why King David was trying to settle that. That's why he had so much blood on his hands.
Right.
He couldn't build that temple. But Solomon was responsible for building that temple. Right.
And you know who really gets attacked the hardest in this thing? But because that's the reason why, you see so many Issacharites and all of that, and they're acting like Judites a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And they mothers and fathers a lot of times can't stand that. But we set the tone on how the tribes and everything should be. That's one of the reasons why the Lord specifically got angry when the Most High allowed the northern kingdom to come in and just with a great slaughter and just slaughter thousands of the people in Judah, right? And they took a whole lot of us up to the Samaria and wanted to make slaves out of us.
Yeah,
remember that?
Mm-hmm.
The Most High had to step in and was like, I was angry with Judah, so that's why I allowed y'all to do that. But y'all can't do this because y'all got sins y'all say angry with us. So if we selfish, what does that push everybody else to want to be? Selfish. We gotta, the tribe of Judah, we gotta take on like Paul. Right in the same land where he did as he did. But when it comes to something, we see something good, we got something good out of the other tribes, right? Take that on for himself. That is even more of a incentive for the other tribes to do. They see Judah they're going to want to be the same way because they see us doing it.
This chapter 21, verse 2. If thou buy an Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing. This is what indentured servitude was actually based on. All the heathen nations got their own, exclusive club right here.
Right, of course.
Right.
Go ahead.
Okay. If he came in by himself, he shall go out.
Go ahead.
Might owe a debt.
Right. Exactly. His house fell into decay somehow, and he has no way to pay. Right? So what does he do? He offers up his services. Dude need the cows fed. He got livestock, and he needs the camels watered, and all kind of stuff like that. And you go and help out. Go ahead.
If he were married, then his wife shall go out with him.
Right.
Verse 4. It shall be her master's, and he shall go out by himself.
Yeah, because they was born in the master's house. They were his property. Just like it is also a law too, where like if the man owned a woman that was betrothed to another man, and he slept with her, he was greatly punished, but they couldn't get put to death because she was owned by someone. But in this situation right here,
That was the Old Testament, right?
Right.
Oh, sounds about right. Okay. Yeah. It's been a while since I read that.
Yeah, I know. I ain't read that in a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
And if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children.
Well, why would he say that? Anybody know? He said, if I read that part again.
And if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children.
Plainly say, that's without a second thought. Right? Go ahead.
I will not go out free.
Why would he say that? Because of how he might not even knew him at first, but over that 6 years they became like family.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He probably, liked the dude so much, you know what I'm saying? The dude was a dude of great, substance or whatever, and wealth, He took this dude, now just think about it, in the six, living like a prince. You know what I'm saying? And he's probably in charge of other servants. And they done made such a brotherly pact, you know what I'm saying? That he's like, man, why the hell leave out? You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Okay, verse 6. That his master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door, or unto the doorpost, and his master shall bore his ear.
Earring, if I'm not mistaken.
At least the awl would be the tool to make the puncture for the earring.
Oh, okay.
We
Oh,
got leather awls,
right.
so like that, yeah, that just makes the hole.
Oh, okay.
So that might be the same definition.
Having a gold loop earring was a sign of like a servant.
Right.
At one point, yeah, a sign of a servant and everything.
Shit like that, as far as the ring.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that you were, a lot of times you was part of a great house or something, you know what I'm saying? You was a servant of a great house, something like that, You boy had the gold loop earring and all of that, And like I was saying with this situation right here, the master treated him with such brotherliness, he's like, hell, why do?
Right.
So what he's saying, what he wants to do is, he's like, hell, why go out? He done made me the Lord of, it's like, they trying to build a strong house. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, everything that I,
Man sell his daughter to be a maidservant, she shall not go out.
Oh, yeah, we'll clip that one where we'll go into that one right there. Got more stuff to go into. Let's go to Tobit, chapter 4, and verse 12.
I see what you're right. Tobit 4 and 12, huh?
Right, yeah.
That is.
Ain't been in Tobit in a minute.
Yeah, that's my favorite book.
The sixth Tobit.
Tobit. Tobit chapter 4, beware of all whoredom.
Say, beware of all whoredom. Yeah, because there's different types of whoredom. Yeah, that's one thing, when people think whoredom, they just think, a lot of times, just think of one thing. But there's different kinds of whoredom. Go ahead.
Beware of all whoredom of thy father's tribe.
Right. A strange woman that is not of the nation of Israel. We take on, Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians take on women like that because we despise our own people.
Right.
That's how we think. We get with the Moabite woman, she, on damn thing, when we take on customs like that, we taking on the customs of someone else. We're imitating somebody else.
Right.
No, I was just going to say, my race don't consider me. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Or, no one set me for who I am. But this other person has held me down. A lot of actors and you okay? A lot of this white woman has helped, I go for them. And then they, their whole mindset and religion, everything changes about themselves.
Right.
So self-hatred about themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Against their own nation.
Right.
And that's history 101.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? That's not hard to understand.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So.
Right. And every time he look in the mirror, regardless of how good he think he look, how well he think he dressed, he look in the mirror, he see a gorilla.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And he don't want his kids, he can breed himself out. I heard a brother say one time, he had a little mixed son. He's like, my son grew up, he can be whichever one he want to be. And no, that's not how this thing works. You know what I'm saying? That's not how this works. And no, that's not how this thing works. You know what I'm saying? That's not how this works. For one thing, he's little right now. The older he get, the blacker he's going. Blondish color hair, that's going to turn brown. You know what I'm saying? And he's going to be called the N-word just like every other one. You got Bud and Bud Light. Right. Bud Light can't say it ain't Bud. Just, right. Just because it's light, it's the same damn thing.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing with, just doing some history as far as homosexuality. And talking to, some of the captains, things of that sort. I mean, it's the same thing for homosexuals.
Right.
I mean, that's another form of self-hatred.
Yeah. Right.
That you a female.
Right.
Is a show.
Right.
I'm sorry, it's like Romans, the first chapter.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? The first chapter, verses 26 to 27. Just how, just no confusion or identity or your gender, so to speak.
Right.
It's the same thing when it comes to Black and Hispanic people. We think that we should be not the author of confusion.
Right. He made you. That's right. He made, he made an Israelite and an Israelite.
Right, right.
You're supposed to go out there and be the best Israelite you could possibly be.
Uh-huh.
That's what you're supposed to do. That's why, a person knowing their history, knowing who they are is so important. Because without a history and testimonies to draw strength from, a person just pretty much, left out in the cold like that, and then they got to cling on to something else. Do anything that got a rich history. It's just like you got them African, what do they call them again? The conscious, I guess, conscious community. I guess all the ones that's about Africa and all of that.
Yeah, or Egyptology.
Yeah, all of that. Trying to lump them all in as a whole, but I can't find it. They want to grab on to Egypt, Ethiopia. But here's the thing, why ain't they grabbing on the pygmies or something? Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. They ain't grabbing on to the little, mud hut people or none of that. Nobody's none of them, right? You know what I'm saying?
If I may, ain't nobody claiming Ethiopia. Everybody want to talk about Ghana and Nigeria when these are newer.
Yeah, they don't claim like modern Ethiopia.
Right,
but they'll say Haile Selassie is the son of the descendant of King Solomon and Queen of Sheba and all of that, because they know that in ancient times Ethiopia rivaled Egypt way back then. So they want to grab onto that, What was you saying?
No, that was pretty much it. Nobody's claiming the biblical setting of everything that they're claiming is modern, more or less. Modern as we know it today. They're not claiming the Egypt necessarily that stood thousands of years ago. Right. They claim what we know about it today, and it's again same thing with all the big name tribes that they got today.
Right.
Ghana didn't exist like that back then.
Right.
But they claim in Ghana today, that's supposed to be one of the cradles, or one of our cribs. That's supposed to be home because it's on the western coast.
Right. They done modernized and done made this this new age Africanism society or world or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, because they don't look back into ancient Egypt. They don't. You ask them what were they lost back then. That's the thing about it. You got heathens running around peeing all over the pyramids and all of that.
Right.
They trying to draw from that. I mean, where does this world? I don't get it. Where does this? Because you got the modern one that we know.
They're talking more about another one now.
Right.
And it's certainly not in the same light that our ancestors, Fertile Crescent and Cradle of Life, and it's that again the African spirituality has it's like looking through a kaleidoscope. Every time somebody else wants to turn that on, they switch it.
Imaginary world, and then they made blacks and Hispanics buy into it. And
just in a nutshell of what y'all saying, that's why when I first came into the truth, I didn't understand half of it. Just like the Quran has no life or purpose to it.
Right, there's no goal in it, no, end game. You know what I'm saying? It's not. Well, I could see it better if they would say Egypt is going to rise again and become the superpower and such, and they really believe that, and they're fashioning themselves to be a participant, in that power that Egypt's going to have.
Right.
I could respect that better than what the hell they're doing. You know what I'm saying? What they're doing is they've made up a world that they know is never going to come back. You know what I'm saying? A world that is never going to be. This brother said to me, I'm like, it's like, with the Freemasons or something like that, we build this and build that or something. He said something like that. And I'm like, so when y'all help them build, what are they going? How y'all going to get the power? He's like, well, they're just going to give it back to us. I'm like, what? They're just going to give it back to you once they done got so great and powerful. They're just going to give it to you. When have they ever did? When did they gave you? When have they gave you 1% of Wall Street? Even 1% of Wall Street.
And that's still good money.
Right. 1% of Wall Street, you'd be what, a billionaire, right? 1%, not even 1%. So he believes that they're gonna, sail the cosmos with all the wealth and power, and then just turn it on over to us. At that time, I just had to, I had to flatline all conversations with that brother after that. You know what I'm saying? Okay, any more?
Come. For we are the children of the prophets, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, my son, that our fathers from the beginning, even that they all married wives of their own kindred, and were blessed in their children, and their seed shall inherit the land.
This is why I said before, the way that we perceive one another is very, very important. The way that how we perceive one another, because the way that you perceive your brethren, you know what I'm saying, and the older men, the men that are like your fathers and everything, is going to play a role in how you perceive that wife if you do have an Israelite wife.
Right.
If you do have an Israelite wife, you're going to perceive her as something low. Just like everybody talk about, this swirl and other black women trying to get with white men and all of that. We talk about white men treat us better. White men, no, he doesn't treat you better. He treats you like a whore. How in the hell can he love you when he looks at you? He despises your people. Go ahead.
Also, too, a lot of times, when a white woman or a white man has a Israelite man and woman, we are just a trophy to them.
All right. Exactly.
That's how we are.
It's just like in slavery. His job is to carry them groceries. Go ahead.
Brought out many times before. Just the most recent I can think of, Captain Zariak was explaining to brother, we would be the concubines.
Right. Like, say for instance, that during the time of King Solomon's day, it was still wrong, but it was different for the simple fact of the whole global power dynamic concerning us. When you at the top, right? And people have no choice but to respect you. King Solomon's wives and them, they wouldn't disrespect him. They had no choice but to respect him.
Right.
And their fathers and all of that, even though they hated him. But they feared him and they respected him. Believe that, If they good.
No, I was going to say, as far as what Amon had said, is absolutely correct. Yeah, because I remember that, you said cross the line, right?
I believe so. Come.
Yeah, I want to say that was cross the line. But also, too, just by him speaking about that, it reminds me of a scripture of 2nd Esdras. See what I'm saying? If I could get that.
Oh, right.
Okay. 2nd Esdras chapter 10, verse 23. And which is the greatest of all, the seal of Zion hath now lost her honor, for she is delivered into the hands of them that hate us, which is going to everything that we Matthew 5 and 13, when it talks about how us being the salt of the earth,
right,
and how we lost our flavor,
right.
You see what I'm saying? And us being us being delivered to the hands of our oppressor, that the ones that hate us,
right.
It's like what is it? We have tremors thy ways.
Right, to seek love, right,
Just to seek love.
Yes,
it's crazy.
Right, and when you trim your ways to seek love, they treat you just like a whore. There's another scripture that says they give gifts to all whores. Remember that scripture?
Yeah.
It said, but thou give thy gifts to thy lovers. That's crazy right there. Well, that was a cold diss right there. Y'all remember that scripture? They give gifts to all whores, but thou give thy gifts to thy lovers. It's like, damn, you got a hooker out there, she's paying you to get what I. Man, that's even worse than just being a straight up whore. You the whore that paid to John. You the prostitute that paid to John. That was a cold scripture right there. Oh boy!
I got it for you too.
Okay.
I mean, if you want it.
Right, yeah. We can talk about that one. Yeah.
It's actually in Ezekiel. So we got a few more months until we get into that. Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 33. They give gifts to all whores, but thou givest thy gifts to all thy lovers.
Man. I give that gifts to all thy lovers, man. That's hardcore right there.
No, it's a little
when you do that, you give your gifts to all the lovers. You look at those lovers as being something far greater than you. That's like a prostitute just being thankful that John ran up in her.
Yeah.
So grateful that she ready to take him out to dinner. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Put some money in his pocket, and he's the John. He's supposed to pay her.
Hey, good night. He said he's the John. That's pretty poetic.
Right.
That's pretty poetic. There's a little bit more on that too.
Okay.
And hires them, that they may come unto thee on every side for thy whoredom.
Oh man, it said it hires them. Put them on a salary. Put the Johns on the salary.
Right.
Making sure they get a paycheck every week. Man, this is horrible right here. This is how we look as a horrible. This is how we look as a nation right here.
No, it's verse 34. And the contrary is in thee from another woman in thy whoredoms.
Right.
Alright. Verse 34. And the contrary is in thee from other women in thy whoredoms. Whereas none followeth thee to commit whoredoms.
Nation follow us to do no retarded stuff like that. Right. You don't see Chinese restaurants setting all throughout Korea. They ain't gonna play that. And they both Moab. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna play that. You know, you ain't gonna, you know, run it on them like that. You know, but that's the type of stuff that everybody can do to us. They supposed to be paying us to do business in our neighborhood.
Right.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be paying. That's what the Africans got the Chinese doing. That's why when they be building on all that stuff, you don't see no Africans on there doing it.
Right.
You know, when they first got over there and started building and all of that, they had all Chinese workers that came from China building on them tracks with them trains and all of that.
Yeah.
And it was, I think they was rigging for oil or something too. I think they was nothing but Chinese working on the rigs. But the Africans, they were getting paid.
Yeah.
And didn't have to work because you working on their land.
Right.
You know, you working on, you asking them if I can go drill for oil over here. Well, yeah, that's cool, but you got to pay us a such and such amount of money. And what do they do with that money? They take that money to enrich their own. You know, the leaders get their cut, and everything else go and distribute it out to the people, and making their lives better. Next thing you know, they got that visa to come over here to America, and they got the funding to come over here to America and set up some type of street level business or shop or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
This was there was a little bit more. If you want to get it, unless you want to clip it.
Oh, we can run through some more with it.
Okay, let's go down. And that thou givest a reward, and no reward is given unto thee, therefore thou art contrary.
We give them a reward, and no reward is ever given back to us. We gave them what they talk about, Madam C. Walker and all of that, right? You know, they popped her up there with Harriet Tubman and you know what I'm saying, all of that, right? But at the same time, the Koreans was able to come in, you know, with the approval of black people, buy certain curling irons and all of that stuff, you know, and duplicate the stuff, make their own version of it. We love to embrace everybody, to show everybody how non-racist we can be when everybody else should be trying to prove that to us. So we come in with open arms. Next thing you know, you get ran out of that business, and you got to struggle just to even have your own business. And they got laws set in place for you also, because the law says that no minority can take any resources, can go from a majority to a minority. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know that is the law. That's the reason why, you know, we can't take the hair care. You know what I'm saying? They're the majority just for setting their foot on American soil. They already automatically over us.
Right.
They're the minority when it comes to getting help and assistance and things like that. So they're first on the list. You know what I'm saying? And we're last on the list.
Always.
Right. And being the fact that they got that law set in play, we can't take back any businesses. The only thing we can do is let them go. So what should we do? When we start our own, we got to be, you know, totally against it. You know, everybody, the only thing you can come in here and do is be a customer. That's it. Because when they go into a black business, they look at it as something they can really invade. You know what I'm saying? They go in with their purpose. We go into a China. Can you imagine if we went into a Chinese restaurant with that type of mindset? That we're going to own it one day? And then start setting things in place so that we could do it? We could own it? We start setting up our own Chinese style restaurant right next to theirs and having cheaper prices and better food, better quality food, cleaner restaurants and all of that. That will force them, what would that force them to do? That will force them to have to up their game. And we have stuff on their menu, stuff on our menu that they don't have and all of that. People would start coming to us, you know what I'm saying? And their business would start to get hit. You know, they would start to lose money. That is if we thought with Brotherhood. That's the hardest part. You know, it's trying to get us to value one another. Because if we valued each other, that's like inside that scenario right there, all that black business would come right back to black people. You know what I'm saying? And then the other races would see all of that business coming to black people, you know, they would want to eat at the black place too. Because they automatically going to think that the food is better. And it's going to make the Chinese restaurant look like everything in there is nasty.
Yes, it's like, there's actually a scripture about that, like back in Exodus when we was in Egypt.
Really?
Oh, damn, it was either Egypt or Deuteronomy when it talks about conquer, you know, their stuff. See what I'm saying? It can most likely encourage the other nations to, you know, correct themselves.
Right.
As far as the culture, the lifestyle, things of that sort.
Right.
And once again, once we're on top, that's how it's going to be initially.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I think about Proverbs 29 and 2 off the top. You know, when it talks about how when the wicked is in rulership, the people mourn. When the righteous are in rulership, the people rejoice.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
and that would also come to them, you know, they would be giving us, you know, of their stuff because they fear and respect us. They would be given to us just like they did with, who was it? I'm trying to think of the king that they did with. When he gathered all the people, gathered all the ranking people together and such and such. Mm-hmm. And then it said fear fell upon all nations and they started to give gifts. They started to give peace offerings because they figured that the Most High was going to smite their country.
So it wasn't the time of King Solomon, right?
No, this is long after King Solomon. This is
So you said long after.
Right. This is somewhere around the time of Jehoshaphat, I think it was.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere around that time.
Okay.
Yeah, it was what is that? I ain't ran across it in a while.
Assuming you're talking about New Testament.
No, this is in the Old.
Oh, so it's still okay.
You see, it said, and fear fell up on all the nations, and they brought gifts.
Kind of think of King Solomon. Found it.
I think it's Chronicles.
First or second?
I think it's second.
It said Chronicles what?
Yeah, Second Chronicles. I think it started about the 15th chapter.
15 verse 1.
15 and verse. Let me see. Let me make sure. That's a hell of a scripture. That's why I'm pausing everything just to find this very word right quick.
You got to go to me as well, though.
Okay.
I mean, if you do want to go to time limit, that is there too.
Okay.
So that is allowed, but just you don't go over 10 minutes at least.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, go.
Chronicles, Kings. Let's see. I think it's Second Chronicles 15 and let's see.
Yeah, but it was at one point in time.
Right.
It stood up.
Right.
It used to be.
Yeah. Okay. So, and we. Yeah. Here we go. I think it was Asa. I think the king was Asa.
Asa, okay, yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, Asa, yeah. Asa, yeah.
Go to the part where I had said that fear fell upon all the heathen that was round about. they all started bringing gifts. 'Cause that's one thing that's inside the heathens to know. If we doing what's right, now they got to think about all the stuff that they done did to us.
God.
You know what I'm saying? They got to think about that now.
God. Yeah.
And that fear come over them, you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden now they want a brown nose.
God. I was gonna say, if you can't find it, you can definitely just paraphrase it for time to say.
Right, yeah.
God, yeah. But I know where you're going. That's a good storyline.
It was, yeah. Make a long story short, they started giving, you know, the gifts and stuff over, you know, and the land had peace.
Mm-hmm.
You know. All right, let's go to Tobit 2 and 3. I still got a whole chapter of Nehemiah.
Oh, okay, God, yeah. I mean, you could always use for next week too.
Right, yeah, I'll probably just,
Happy
just
to
do
use
it.
next week.
Yeah, I'll probably just do that. There's a lot in this right here,
Mm-hmm.
you know, by itself, and I'll probably incorporate that with that 13, you know.
Yeah.
We was talking about, and put them two together.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, before you get that, Bar, if we could give Tarap a hand. You see what I'm saying?
Damn right.
I just want to say you're teaching an amazing, great class. You know, very informative and things of that sort. And very, very great class.
Yeah,
And by the way, you are an amazing teacher. I appreciate everybody's teaching in the UPK, especially in Minnesota. Y'all do a great job.
Right.
And I don't see no slack, which I love the most. You see what I'm saying? Y'all are amazing. Yeah, I mean, I was hoping to see Amon teach today. More Kanaka ball, but
Yeah, I like watching those guys teach. Yeah, I like watching young girls teach, man.
yeah, kind of, yeah. You see what I'm saying? But y'all all have y'all special way of teaching, but I ain't trying to, grab the audience away from you, so just go ahead and continue doing your thing. It's a lot.
You got that one?
Okay.
All right.
Tobit, chapter 2, verse 3. But he came again and said, Father, one of our nation is strangled and is cast out in the marketplace.
Now, this was the Assyrian captivity, and it was a law that if you found a dead, Hebrew out, you couldn't collect him and bury him. Mm-hmm. That was a law in Assyria right there, and if you did, it was punishable by death.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the scripture where it said, "Thy dead body shall lie, in the street, and none shall gather them up." And think about it. How do they do us today? Mm-hmm. Who's the brother that they strangled and then left his body out there? Mm-hmm. His body was out there for a long time before anybody came, swooped him up over there. All right.
So, Salaki, once again, Salaki, I'm not trying to be annoying, right? But this definitely is Brown got killed. Right. This is proof in itself, otherwise Lamentations,
right.
The 4th chapter as well. Right. Well, also our Lord was crucified.
Right, and this is a manifold scripture too.
Yes, it is.
Manifold right here. We in a dead state, but then we literally be, laid out dead and everything too. After the police gun us down, and strangle us and put us in chokeholds and all of that. And nobody can say that, that this man that was laying out in the marketplace strangled, nobody can say he wasn't no black man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The same thing was going on in Assyria. They had different ways that they would, would oppress us. Each nation had different things that they would do. America pretty much is a compilation of all of these things. Go ahead.
Come, verse 4. Then before I had tasted of any meat, I started up and took him up into a room until the going down of the sun.
Now Tobit and them in this was on the poor. It was poor because in the Assyrian captivity they were stripped of everything. This happened during the time where the 10 tribes was taken, out of the cities of Israel and brought into captivity. So what happened? They forfeited. They had to. They stripped them of all their goods and everything. So they had to start back at zero. Go ahead, read that part again.
Okay. Then verse 4. Then before I had tasted of any meat, I started up and took him up into a room until the going down of the sun.
And that was the dead strangled dude, right? Right.
One violation is strangled and cast out in the marketplace.
Right. He took up the dead body and everything and brought it to his own house. Look at the brotherhood of this dude right there. See what I'm saying? And he put his life on the line to be able to do that, because if anybody's seen him doing it, that was a death sentence.
Right.
Because like I would like the title of this class, our brotherhood really, it grieves the world. It makes them angry, independently from them, and they did not like that at all. They got so many of them Arab factions, it's just, it's insane.
I'll say, I thought the Syrians were like the family of the East Indians or the Arabs, something like that.
Yeah, I'd say so too. I think, they most likely one of the Arab stocks. Yeah. Because everything over there is called an Arab nowadays, and they all, majority of them.
I would say the East Indian family, or otherwise the Arab family. It has to be them. It can't be Esau. That doesn't line up at all. It has to be either it has to be Elam or Ishmael. Either one.
Right.
Elam or Ishmael.
Now the Assyrians, actually, they come from a stock of a dude named I.S.U.P.K,
which is
remember when you go to Psalms 83?
Oh, later in the chapter.
Right, when he says I.S.U.P.K is joined with them.
Oh.
When you go back to Genesis.
Okay. Yeah.
When it talks about the man left and started as
Okay. I know Ishmael left Abraham as far as his father and became his own nation.
Right.
See what I'm saying? And Ishmael was like a distant family member. So
right. I.S.U.P.K left Babylon at the time of Nimrod and went to start his own place, because he's the one that started Nineveh, the city Nineveh. Way back then, it was full of his people.
Okay, okay. Before Jonah came on the scene.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, damn. Yeah.
Who they are today is a mystery, though.
It's a lot of history in the Bible.
Right.
Yeah. But okay. Yeah. So we'll figure it out. But anyway, go ahead.
You got any more on that?
There's a couple things.
Okay.
Tobit chapter 2 verse 5. Then I returned and washed myself and ate my meat in heaviness.
Right. And just think about, look at how grieved this brother was, for the situation of our people. A lot of people was just trying to get down with the Assyrians, just like here in America. Mm-hmm. Remember when in one scripture where the Lord said, "Put a seal upon the heads of those that sigh and cry."
Yeah, cry. Ezekiel.
Right.
Yeah. Otherwise, there's a similar one in Revelations.
Right. Yeah. That's the seal right there. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And he's sighing and crying because of the abominations that's going on, the situation that's happening with his people. That's the mark of a true. The seal of the Most High is the mark of a true Israelite leader.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's what an Israelite leader would do. He's going to sigh and cry. He's going to be moved because of the stuff that's going on with his people. Go ahead.
Okay, I have it for you. Ezekiel chapter 9 verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done. Chapter as well.
Right. Two, we want to make sure on us.
Right.
So when it said, go and put a seal upon the heads of the ones that in the midst of the city that sigh and cry for the abominations, sound like they was out of camp.
Yo, you're damn right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it sounds like right there. It said, go into the midst of the city and do this. And then it said the abominations will be done in the midst of the city. Where a lot of the biggest abominations done at, right down in the same area where we're having camp at. You know what I'm saying? Right in that same area where you have, all the that's where all the gay people and interracials is walking around together. Right? And every damn thing that's evil is displayed there at the same time.
Damn right.
Any more, Mom?
Mourning and all your mirth in the lamentation.
Yeah, that scripture came right to his mind right there. But then, of course, you still had the ones of us that were still trying to get along with the Assyrians. He's segregated by, pretty much by himself, in this, except for it's just him and the righteous people that think like what he do. And that's another reason why he was so, why the situation with the woman, was so intense about who she should marry. Remember 7 dudes was died up on the bed chamber?
Yes, as far as Tobit.
Right.
The demon Asmodeus
right.
to Egypt.
Right.
Yeah.
He was the only one that was, able to actually marry her.
With the help of Raphael Allah, which is Raphael.
Right.
The angel.
Right. Okay, go here.
Verse 7. Therefore I wept, and after the going down of the sun, I went and made a grave and buried him.
See, that's the brotherhood right there that they hate. The whole world hates that brotherhood. When we act in brotherhood, and it becomes ingrained in us like that, that causes a whole shift in the whole world dynamic. And that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid that they will have to be our servants, who the ones that we served at first. They're terrified of that. Even though they know that we're not going to treat them as badly as they treat us, they so drunk on their own power that they can't wrap their mind around ever having to serve us.
Right.
And so you got all the Christians talking about we all going to enjoy the kingdom of heaven together. They don't like enjoying a beach with you today. The Most High is not just going to do a magic trick and just hit them over the head with a wand and they're just going to change. That's not how this thing works. They racist at first and he goes twinking and they're not racist no more. No. They're still going to be racist. You know what I'm saying? You go in the kingdom of heaven with them. They're going to make sure you're going to be picking cotton. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be mightily oppressed. And then they're going to be extra pissed off with you for getting in there with them. And then the first thing they're going to do is start building prisons.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To house us in. They're going to try and turn the kingdom of heaven into America. Hell, they're doing that now. They setting up, right over in Israel, they setting up, they got strip clubs and gay clubs and all of that over there.
You said in Israel?
Right.
Good man.
Yeah, they got all of that. Them Israelis, they got a nightlife scene that looks like New York, like hot spots in New York and go ahead.
I'm saying they got prostitution, they
got
sex trafficking,
right?
As far as that, I do know that.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. But also too, in Israel they celebrate Christmas.
Right. Yeah.
GEN.YAHANNA showed how they have a whole big like blow up Santa Claus. As far as also not just Israel but other Russia too. Russia.
Right. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So, but yeah.
Yeah, and Russia's supposed to be Muslim.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised.
Right. Russia's Muslim.
Yeah, I'm surprised. So be it.
Yeah, I think all of them Eastern European countries and Muslim European countries celebrate Christmas.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, because that's actually Christmas is a Edomite holiday.
Of course.
It didn't have nothing to do with Christ. It has to do with white. You know what I'm saying? That's why all of them celebrated. They celebrated differently in different variations, but still celebrate the same thing.
Yeah. It's a recycled culture or tradition, so to speak.
Right.
Everybody takes part of it.
Right.
Even us, sadly.
Right. Yeah.
In our ignorance. So,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, this stuff. It's all over the world. I think they're doing a lot of Asian countries. Yeah. But one thing, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we got to understand how strong brotherhood is. That's why we always say brotherhood is a weapon.
Right.
That's why we always say that. With that being said, the I.S.U.P.K coming out of 1 West on the 25th Street, Harlem, New York, at the Command GEN.YAHANNA, sharing class. Ready for the Passover that's coming up April the 24th. And support the soldiers, support the I.S.U.P.K soldiers, support the ones that's out there on the corners and in these classes telling you to have brotherhood so that we can get out of the oppression of our enemies.
Right.
With that being said, I'm about to pass the class over to Priest and Officer Mangabar.
I.S.U.P.K security announcements. Well, the I.S.U.P.K has an interest in a particular person. He or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 month period. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21. Malachi, chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. Means tenth in the Hebrew. Ma'ashra. 10% of every penny of any increase the Most High gives you, give to the Treasury Department or teacher. With the priest funds, free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like to donate. And for the tithes, you can go to ISUPK.com, scroll down, hit the donate button, or you can, if you got a Square Cash app, you can do $UPK tithes. For Minneapolis, you got $UPK Minneapolis. You can always pay your tithes and donations this way as well.
$UPK Minnesota.
Salakia, $UPK Minnesota, all caps.
There you go.
You can send your Minneapolis money to me, Slacky knowledge. Upcoming holy convocations, yo. We got the Feast of Purim coming up, February 25th through the 26th. Always get in touch, ISUPK.com. Look up your region and see what their plan is, where they're meeting, where they're gathering, where the event is going to be held at, and start planning for the Passover. Make your travel arrangements, make your hotel lodgings, get that set ahead of time, save your money up and get it right. It's going to be a big one. When we come down to Houston, the B&H Rams, it's going to be something. Anybody wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black. Boots, shirt, pant, headband, and scarf. With that, upon Yaquadam, which means turn face to east. We'll do the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Abanaw, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Ayah, Tumkat, Yahawah, Yubon, Basalak Danaw, Kabawak Now, Kasalak Now,
God in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Yahawah, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts, as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
Prayer to bless Israel in the Hebrew. Yahweh Yahushua.
Yahweh Yahushua.
Barakana.
Barakana.
Wayashah. Wahabayah.
Wahabayah.
Sapari.
Sapari.
Barak.
Barak.
Rapah. Magan.
Magan.
Hagan.
Good.
At this time, you can say the name of a loved one once. Everyone repeats the name once. If you're following us on YouTube or Facebook, you can always type in the name of a loved one and we'll repeat that as well for you.
Captain Kwame
Captain Kwame
Kudash Zayan.
Kudash Zayan.
Austin Tarak.
Officer Tarak.
Austin Mugabar.
Mugabar.
Austin Kanagabar.
Officer Nagabar.
Rapaya Allah.
Rapaya.
Captain Rakazaya.
Captain Rakazaya.
Azara.
Azara.
Makawana.
Makawana.
Satari Allah.
Satari Allah.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Yipa.
Apa.
Yipa.
Yipa.
Lonnie.
Lonnie.
Sorry. Marshall.
Marshall.
Marshall Senior.
Marshall Senior.
China Lee.
China Lee.
Anawa.
Anawa.
Bakar Adam.
Bakar Adam.
Kawa.
Kawa.
Naka.
Naka.
Beatrice.
Beatrice.
Kabat Tabat.
Kabat Tabat.
Kabat Dabar.
Kabat Dabar.
Paul.
Paul.
Des.
Des.
Dominique.
Dominique.
Kunaya Allah.
Kunaya Allah.
Rapaya Allah.
Rapaya Allah. Devin.
Devin.
Aries.
Aries.
Paulette.
Paulette.
Tim.
Tim.
Cliff.
Cliff.
Jamie.
Jamie.
The car.
Car.
Doobie.
Doobie.
Lil Car.
Lil Car.
Zarabi.
Zarabi.
Zayan.
Zayan.
Nadia.
Nadia.
Kishan.
Ishan.
Kamar.
Kamar.
All of Israel.
All of Israel.
Debar Ma.
Mama.
Anybody else?
Israelite School U.P.K.
Israelite School U.P.K.
All of Israel.
All of Israel.
Benjamin.
Benjamin.
Jamie. Whitney.
Whitney.
Annalie.
Annalie.
Raphael.
Raphael.
McIntosh family.
McIntosh family.
Ted.
Ted.
Anybody else?
Do we got anybody on Facebook, on YouTube? So I'm trying to find the information for the brother. Quan.
Natasha.
Natasha.
Captain Kapash.
Captain Kapash.
Lamakiala.
Makyala. Kayala.
Kaya.
Zaryala.
Zariana.
Kapashi Allah.
Kapasha.
Christopher Hill.
Christopher Hill. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yahweh Shah.
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 Alahayim.
Alain.
Alawab. Alawapian.
Alawab.
Officers.
Officers. Hasarani.
Nasarani. Yeah, that's all coming to
Pakwata Zayan.
Pastor Zion.
Kaya Yawin.
Kaya.
Wakwatni.
Quackman. All of Israel.
All of Israel. Brian Buff. Brian Buff.
Okay.
So that again got his name. It's like.
Oh, okay.
It's like.
Alright.
Young man B.
Young man
You say
B.
that. It's like. Bashim Yahushua.
Bashim Yahushua.
Dwala Aman.
What up? Bless Israel in the English. Lord, in the name of Yahushua.
Lord, in the name of Yahushua.
Bless us.
Bless us.
And Israel.
And Israel.
And the school.
And the school.
Bless.
Bless.
Heal.
Heal.
Shield.
Shield.
protect the loved
our
ones.
loved ones.
In the name of Yahweh
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. I like this book.
Power structures.
UPK power structure.
If you read it in Hebrew, he reads it in English. Huh? Did you read in the Hebrew? He reads in English as far as power structure. That's orders.
Blessed are you, Yahweh,
Blessed are Yahweh,
King of heaven and earth,
King of heaven and earth,
and all things living.
and all things living.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
in the name of Yahweh
In the
Shai,
name of Yahweh Shai.
this to us now,
To us now.
right now.
Right now.
Send evils and curses,
Evils and curses.
punishment and destruction
Punishment and destruction.
to the
To
heathen
the heathens.
that speak against
That
us,
speak against us.
our prophets,
Our prophets.
the teachers,
The teachers.
the princes,
The princes.
priests,
Priests.
Israelite brothers,
Israelite brothers.
and the school.
And the school.
Send evils and curses,
Evils and curses.
punishment and destruction
Punishment and
to
destruction.
the heathen,
To the heathen.
and shake loose
And shake loose.
the treasure
The treasure.
of the rich of Israel,
Of the rich of
that
Israel.
refuse to give to the school.
That refuse to give to the school.
Force their riches
Force their riches.
into thy sanctuary.
Into thy sanctuary.
Send evils and
And
curses,
evils and curses.
punishment and destruction
Punishment and
to
destruction.
the Edomites,
To the Edomites.
and the nation,
And the nation.
and the drug
And the
dealers,
drug dealers.
the court system,
Court system.
prison system,
Prison system.
Planned Parenthood,
Planned Parenthood.
all the governments of our enemies,
All the governments of our enemies.
Amalek, synagogues, and armies,
Everlasting God's armies.
Roman Catholic Church,
Catholic Church.
Pope,
Pope.
Islam,
Islam.
Christianity,
Christianity.
Egyptology,
Egyptology.
militia,
Militia.
Ku Klux Klan,
Ku Klux Klan.
Aryan Nation,
Aryan Nation.
skinheads,
Skinhead.
Posse Comitatus,
Fatima.
gay movement,
Brigade movement.
lesbian movement,
Lesbian.
spies,
Spies.
workers of witchcraft,
Works of witchcraft.
NASA space program,
NASA space
for
program.
thy people
And like people.
that seek to stop us
Hey.
or try to stop
All
us
try to stop
from
us.
broad the house of the thief
Shake the house of the thief.
and the murderer,
And the murder.
lay our shot,
And Yahweh Shai.
Michael and Gabriel,
Michael and Gabriel.
come down the flying saucer,
Down this line
I
sauce.
punish all the heathen
Punish all the
that
heathen.
come up against
That
us
come up against us.
as we speak thy
We
word,
speak thy
cause
word.
to be known
Cause it to be known
by all,
by all.
that is the angels that have done
It's
it,
the angels that have done it.
cause to be spread
Cause it to be
through
spread
the media,
throughout the media.
throughout the whole world,
Throughout the whole world.
cause them to shake at thy coming.
Cause it to shake at thy coming.
In the name of Yahweh
In the
Shai,
name of Yahweh Shai.
thank you always.
You always.
So be it.
So be it.
Sar. Men of Israel, Mother Shabbat, Majum, Barak,
Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai Barakam.
Yazmatah, courtesy salute to the sisters, men of Israel. Mother Shabbat, Majum, Barak,
Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai.
Yazmatah, class dismissed.